Have you ever felt a place tug at you from two directions at once? Half street-level hustle, half quiet heartbeat you can't quite hear until you slow down? That's the feeling I want to bottle today. For our channel Top 15 Discoveries, we're counting down a living portrait of Vietnam, not as a postcard, but as a pulse. Everyday grit, quiet rituals, surprising textures, and people navigating the light and the shadow of real life. Before we dive in, quick note, if a detail surprises you, drop it in the comments so others can learn from your lens too. And hey, if this kind of storytelling moves you, please like, comment, and subscribe so more people find their way to journeys like this.
Welcome to Top 15 Discoveries.
Number 15. Travel smarts that open the country, not just the map. If you want Vietnam to welcome you, start with a simple digital kit. An eSIM so you never scramble for signal, an offline map for when alleys turn into labyrinths, and a wallet that handles QR or NFC because small stalls move fast. Think of it as tuning your rhythm to the city's tempo. Choose lodgings in the semi-center, close enough to walk, far enough to sleep. Learn two gentle phrases, Xin Chao and Cam Am. Move with courtesy at temples and ancestral spaces. Covered shoulders, shoes off where it's customary, and eyes open for small signs that tell big stories. If you plan around golden hours, you'll earn experiences others miss. Sunrise for markets setting up, sunset for riverfronts, and old towns softening into lantern light. The aim isn't to collect places, it's to collect presence. With the basics in your pocket, you're ready for coastlines and caves that don't just look beautiful, they rearrange your sense of scale. What would you include in your own digital kit for a country of side streets and sudden horizons? Number 14. Destinations that whisper instead of shout. Ninh Thuan is where open sky meets a sultan horizon. Vinh Hai Bay curled like a quiet note. Warm wind combing over vineyards, dunes soft as powdered gold. Han Dao is another tone, forest and sea in patient conversation, where you can float above coral gardens and watch hatchlings from a respectful distance on protected nights. Quang Binh Yan, the famous routes, pulls you inland, river-carved hollows, cathedral-high chambers, and trails that thread through primary forest. None of these places beg for attention, they just keep being themselves until you learn how to look. The trick is to go slow, to let silence be part of the itinerary, and to remember, your steps leave traces. Be the kind of visitor you wish every place could host. From my perspective, seeking quieter destinations isn't escapism, it's respect. When we choose stillness, we give a place permission to remain itself. Landscapes can humble you, but stories carved by limestone aren't the only mysteries. Some places hold their intrigue in the hush between footsteps. Which kind of beauty speaks to you more? The wide windowed coast or the cool, echoing hush of stone? Number 13, the gentle mystery of places that keep their own time. Trang An flows like a long breath, boats gliding under low stone lips, valleys that fold and unfold, light sliding across the water in slow syllables. Ha Giang's Ma Pai Leng Pass is wind and granite, and the feeling that the sky has more space than you remembered. The rock fields, sharp, sculptural, look quarried by time itself. And Dalat's morning mist is a kind of cinema. Pine silhouettes, a lakeside that takes its tea slowly, and a hill where a solitary tree becomes a meeting point for timing and chance. Mystery here isn't a secret, it's restraint. These are places that ask you to trade conclusions for curiosity. From my perspective, mystery teaches patience. When a place refuses to explain itself on demand, it invites you to become a better listener. From quiet landscapes to living calendars, when seasons become ceremonies, you realize a culture's timetable isn't written only by clocks. If a place could teach you one habit, patience, courage, generosity, what lesson would you hope to learn? Number 12. The motorbike, a key that fits a whole country. 70+ million motorbikes don't just clog lanes, they choreograph mornings. In Hanoi and Saigon, bikes become a vocabulary. Parents dropping kids at school, workers balancing parcels, a couple sharing a raincoat mid-storm, a florist's mobile garden cruising past. By so many, affordability, flexibility, fuel thriftiness, and a city fabric of alleys and lanes that politely tells cars to wait outside. The magic trick is volume without aggression. Rush hours look intense, but somehow the school bells still ring on time and the coffee arrives hot. If you need to cross a city or even a province overnight, sleeper buses recline into a horizontal mercy, air conditioning humming, Wi-Fi steady, fares kind to the wallet. If you ever doubted resourcefulness, watch a motorbike carry something you'd swear needs a truck, and then arrive safely with a grid. And there we are, from a toolkit to a coastline, from a night song to a morning commute, from courage on a plate to grace at a podium. If one everyday scene from this countdown had to live in your memory for the next year, which would you choose and why? Number 11. Dishes that ask for courage. Let's talk about tastes that don't tiptoe. Mom Tom and Mom Nem, the fermented anchors of certain regional kitchens, arrive bold best friends with lime, chili, and fragrant herbs. Durian might greet you like a shouted hello, then melt into a custard you can't stop thinking about. From the coast, jellyfish noodles in Naton snap and glide. In Phuquoc, a shimmering salad of anchovy and wild greens tastes like sea air learned to dance. If you're curious about coconut larvae from the Mekong, opt for preparations that turn surprise into texture, crispy, aromatic, and served with a wink from cooks who know exactly what they're doing. Courage is a seasoning here. So is humility. Markets are where courage meets community, a place to buy flavor, and sometimes to buy a little luck. What's the most surprising dish you've tried, and what made you say yes? Number 10, a market that trades in symbols as much as goods. Across certain northern fields, once a year and only at night, a market opens that locals speak of quietly. Handles quiver, stalls keep to the essentials, incense rolled by hand, salt and rice wrapped in red-tinged paper, artisan papercraft that carries wishes. There's a soft rule here. Prices are straightforward, exchanges unhurried, counting optional. People come not just to buy, but to set intentions for the year, bridge past and present with gestures that feel small and matter greatly. The name of the market nods to balance rather than bargain. It recognizes the space where gratitude lives. From my perspective, ritual isn't superstition, it's choreography for gratitude. When you rehearse thankfulness, you make room for steadiness. If markets can sell hope, cities can sell time, stretching a night until it becomes two. When you think of good luck, what object or habit do you instinctively reach for? Number 9, the price of a day and the worth of a life. Let's be practical, a room near the action without the midnight noise, 3 tiers of monthly budgets, lean, standard, comfortable, and an internet infrastructure that makes co-working in cafes feel like a lifestyle, not a workaround. Ride-hailing and buses keep daily trips affordable. A rented motorbike can give you more choice than you expect. The secret economy is in small savings bundle market runs, use QR to catch cash back, and ask locals which neighborhoods have good light, good food, and good neighbors. In Da Nang, a first-generation coder, let's call her Lin, turns a spare bedroom into a micro-studio. By day, she tests apps for an overseas client. By night, she tutors 2 teenagers in basic Python so they can build a bus arrival notifier for their neighborhood. She told a community newsletter, "I wanted my work to mean my parents could rest more and my street could wait less. Rent, manageable. Impact, measurable." But it drove her mad. Night isn't the end of a workday here. Sometimes it's when cities discover their second language. How would you design your perfect day on a modest budget? What would you invest in, and what would you gladly simplify? From my perspective, budgets are values in disguise. What you spend on says as much about you as what you save. Number 8. Nightlife that glows. Some streets refuse to sleep. In Hanoi, Tayen hums with clinking glasses and a brass sax that doesn't need a stage. In Saigon, Buyen swaps weekday pace for weekend theater. If you like your evenings quieter, there's a river bus that glides past condos and cranes, a coffee shop where the mic is open but the hearts are patient, and a rooftop where breezes decide the playlist. On festival weekends, museums and galleries stay up late because art deserves dark too. A street band in Da Nang's An Tuong Quarter, 3 friends and a borrowed drum box, plays a set of old tin ca songs. A security guard pretends not to listen, then requests a ballad his wife once loved. The band doesn't know it, but by the last chorus half the block is singing, "No one's too cool to harmonize when memory calls." The city sings, the hills answer in rituals that belong to families and to futures. When your day is done, which version of night speaks to you, lanterns and laughter or water and wind? Number 7. Love, consent, and the shape of home. In several Northern Highland communities, there's a courtship custom, sometimes called wife-taking, but the essential point gets lost in the label: consent. 2 people agree, families talk, and a stay at the young man's home becomes a promise made in the open, breakable by the woman at any time if it doesn't feel right. Among Red Dao families, proposals can begin with the woman. After marriage, a groom may live with her parents, and the household's big decisions often flow through the wife's side. Farewell ceremonies for forebears, meanwhile, are less about endings and more about continuity. Songs, carved figures, shared meals, care carried across generations. At a Red Dao celebration, a young woman, call her me, steps forward with a laugh that's half nervous, half certain. She offers a scarf she embroidered herself and asks the question in front of everyone. The groom blushes so hard the elders tease him for weeks. Later, me manages the ledger for their small cinnamon farm, and he tends the terraces. Their home is built from the grammar of we. If family can redraw tradition with kindness, then a whole country can teach you how geography redraws identity. Which part of those customs resonates with your idea of respect, asking in public, choosing together, or caring for elders as everyday practice? From my perspective, consent isn't a modern add-on to tradition. It's the quiet center of any custom that deserves to last. Number 6. The S shape that teaches orientation. On the map, Vietnam curves like a question mark deciding to become an exclamation. To the north is China, to the west, Laos and Cambodia, to the east and south, a long conversation with the sea. The country is just over 332,000 square kilometers, but the terrain is bigger than its number. 3/4 hills and mountains, a coastline that keeps inventing views, valleys that turn green into granite. 54 ethnic communities add layers of music, textiles, and food to the same long table. The Vietnamese language folds 6 tones into clarity. The address system is a dance of kinship. Older sister, younger brother, aunt, uncle, teacher, friend. Respect mapped into everyday speech. If landscape draws the outline, a cup can fill it. Coffee, here isn't a beverage, it's a culture with subplots. What does the S shape evoke for you? Journey, resilience, or a question that finds its answer? Number 5. A cup have carried a country to breakfast. Vietnam is the world's 2nd largest exporter of coffee, with Robusta beans that stand up straight in espresso and anchor instant blends around the globe. The cup most visitors first meet is Fin coffee, a patient drip into a glass. a little condensed milk like a sunrise. Then the inventions: egg coffee that drinks like a sweet cloud, coconut coffee that tastes like a beach, wrote a poem, and regional riffs that turn morning into a hobby. You'll hear about civet coffee, too rare, priced like a luxury watch. If curiosity takes you there, ask questions about sourcing and welfare. The best cafes are happy to talk about how they protect all living beings in the process. In any case, the real joy is simpler: strangers leaving a little silence for each other while the drip does its work. From cafes to boardrooms to kitchens at midnight, the story keeps circling back to women who carry more than one role without letting go of themselves. What's your coffee ritual, and what part of it makes you feel most like yourself? The wait, the first sip, or the company? Number 4. Women who lead at work and at home. Across regions, you'll notice different expressions of grace: northern elegance with a sharp wit, central gentleness with steel in the spine, southern openness shaped by layered influences. You'll also notice that women show up everywhere leadership is needed: boardrooms, classrooms, clinics, code bases. Many still juggle extra hours of housework every day, a quiet load that isn't always visible. Old beliefs about early marriage still nudge from the sidelines, but a new confidence answers back: career first for some, love later for others, independence for many. Dating apps aren't just convenience, they're a way to name what you want. The core shift isn't rebellion, it's self-respect. From my perspective, the bravest sentence in any language is, "I'll decide." When you say it kindly and clearly, you change not just your life, but the expectations of everyone who watches you. The lens widens again, from individual choices to the signs and symbols that thread through storefronts and schedules. Which story of strength have you witnessed recently that deserves to be told louder? Number 3. Belief, balance, and everyday signs. At the entrance of many shops, a small altar sits like a welcome: incense, small offerings, a hint that prosperity begins with gratitude. Big life moments, openings, weddings, new ventures often follow auspicious dates chosen by families who value harmony as much as planning. Numbers carry meanings too. Some are avoided in apartment floors or phone numbers. Others are prized and strung together like a blessing. Children's names might be chosen with both poetry and pattern in mind: sound, meaning, and a sense of fit with family. Whether or not you share these logics, you can hear what they're saying. People want to align their days with something steadier than chance. If meaning is everywhere, you'll spot it most clearly in small scenes that visitors can love right away: services improvised, habits perfected, and streets that feel like a school. Feeling a candle, lighting a candle, touching a talisman, setting an intention that helps you feel centered. Number 2, things that look unusual until they make perfect sense. A barber's chair under a tree, a square mirror hung on a wall, and a line of regulars waiting on shaky stools. The sidewalk salon is equal parts craft and neighborliness. Sun-protective jackets in high summer can look surprising until you learn that the best skincare routine is shade. Even at beaches, you'll see long sleeves and wide hats, because health is a culture, not a product. Pharmacies offer practical help for minor aches without asking you to navigate a maze of appointments. The first week, you'll raise your eyebrows. The second week, you'll wonder why you ever did it differently. By the time these things feel normal, you're ready to understand the true national vehicle. Not just a way to move, but a way to belong. Which unusual habit in your community actually hides a brilliant logic once you understand it? Number 1. Festivals that turn the year into a compass. The Gion festivities near Hanoi vibrate with communal memory. Pageantry is choreography, folklore stepping into daylight to remind a city of its spine. In the South Central Coast, the Kate celebration among Kam communities, layers textiles, rhythms, and temple offerings into an art of remembrance. Down in the Mekong Basin, Okumbuk brings Khmer communities together to give thanks for a season's cycle, lanterns, water, and music moving in one direction. Then there's Festival Hue, which takes a former imperial town and casts it as a stage, conical hats flashing like semaphore, owl day moving with riverlight, artists bending tradition without breaking it. Festivals don't happen to a city, they happen with a city. Once you've seen how a calendar can sing, you're ready for flavors that test not just your palate, but your openness. In a sea of festivals, which kind of celebration pulls you in? Solemn ceremony, street parade, or nighttime performance? A thread through all 15. These chapters aren't meant to be trophies, they're invitations. Vietnam is not a museum of fixed exhibits, it's a conversation. If you've felt the pull of any one scene, tell us which and why. Your comment might be the breadcrumb someone else follows. And because you're now about 2/3 through this journey, if the stories here resonate with you, please like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep making work that meets you where curiosity lives. Along the way, I promised a few things: real questions, real people, real respect. We asked how you build a digital kit where silence feels right, which festival fits your spirit, which dish you said yes to, what luck looks like in your hands, how you design a budgeted day, which night speaks to you, what custom resonates, what the S-shape means to you, how you drink your coffee, what strength you've seen, what ritual centers you, what habit hides a brilliant logic, and what scene you'd carry all year. These aren't quiz items, they're invitations to see yourself in the story. From my perspective as a storyteller, the value of travel isn't escaping, it's attention. Attention is how you make the world feel held, not just seen. Which moment stayed with you? The hush of a Trong Nong, the laugh in a Red Dao proposal, a coder's side hustle that turned into neighborhood timing, or a saxophone that made a whole block remember the same song. Tell us your chapter below. And once more, from the team behind Top 15 Discoveries, thank you for being the kind audience that reads with your heart open. If you could add one new chapter to this countdown, what story of everyday courage would you nominate?